We all want to know, is the Biden administration purposefully raising the gas prices to force Americans into a transition from fossil fuels into alternative green energy? What would happen if this new age censorship we've all been experiencing succeeds in silencing conservative voices? This is truly a frightening idea to contend with, but fortunate for us, President Trump is about to launch a counterattack. Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together.
This morning, drivers are hoping someone can pump the brakes on rising gas prices as experts sound the alarm about a possible summer surge on the way.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it just keeps going up.
Analysts with J.P. Morgan Chase are now predicting $6 a gallon gas by August. That would be a 30% increase from the current national average, as problems persist with the fuel supply chain, just as more Americans prepare to hit the road for summer travel.
My wife and I are planning a trip, and we already know it's going to cost us extra for the trip just because of fuel.
Only advice I can pretty much give it, hey, watch your spending, man. Be careful how you spend your money and not just blow it. So, yeah, just be wise.
After being forced to maintain distance from our loved ones, thousands of people have decided to hit the road with their families and friends to honor this year's Memorial Day weekend since COVID-19. However, before they could hit the accelerator, gas prices again jumped to a record-breaking high at $4.61 per gallon, which is 50% higher than the cost of a gallon a year ago. And instead of taking sufficient measures to control these prices, President Biden defends this increase by arguing it will reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and called it an incredible transition. The statement was made during his trip to Japan. He said, "When it comes to gas prices, we are going through an incredible transition that is taking place, that God willing, when it's over, we will be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when it's over. What I've been able to do to keep it from getting even worse, and it's bad." Now, if you look closely at this statement, it clearly shows how he is planning the country's transition from fossil fuels by increasing its prices and putting heavy pressure on the citizens' budget. Words like, "we will be stronger when it's over," "incredible transition," are not to be ignored easily. The same is realized and argued by Senator Lindsey Graham. In a recent interview, he said, "I think that's the main takeaway from his statement, that he is telling the American people they are doing this to you on purpose, that the transition period is being imposed by policies coming from the Biden administration. This is a conscious effort by the Biden administration to destroy fossil fuel production in the United States. To get away from fossil fuels, you are living this experience. This is an irresponsible shutting down of oil and gas production in America, making us more dependent on oil and gas from bad actors, and it's destroying the American economy." Now, it should be noted that when there is no sufficient infrastructure in the country to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, any forceful measure will express weak decision-making power of the Biden administration. According to McKinsey's April report, cars and trucks produce nearly 1/5 of America's greenhouse gas emissions, all of which must be eliminated to achieve the federal target of net zero emissions by 2050. And nearly half of U.S. consumers say that battery or charging issues are their top concerns about buying EVs. So keeping in mind this report, does this mean that American citizens will not be relieved from the skyrocketing oil and gas prices until 2050? According to experts, by the end of this summer, the price per gallon will be more than $6, and in Los Angeles and San Francisco, it has already touched $6, thus forcing the citizens to purchase underdeveloped electric vehicles or stay at home till 2050, provided if the government manages to achieve this target, which it usually fails to do. Now, according to Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy, I don't think as many people are going to hit the road, and if they do, I think a good portion are going to be staying close to home. Although many do consider that the rise in gas prices is also linked with the Russian-Ukraine war, However, experts have claimed that oil and gas prices massively started increasing since Biden came into office. Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel also argued by stating, "Another day, another new record high gas price in Biden's America. Joe Biden doesn't care about the historic inflation and skyrocketing gas prices families are facing every day as a result of his failed agenda. The pain is the point for Biden and the Democrats, and Americans will continue to suffer as long as Biden is in charge."
18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
If you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
Every person in society should not be able just to go online and buy body armor. So I'm going to be putting together a bill along those lines, and if the family of the soldiers is amenable, I'd like to name it after him.
After feeling pained by 2 recent mass shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas, Republican Representative Chris Jacobs has come forward in favor of banning assault weapons in the country. Jacobs, who once vowed to serve as an ally and fighter for gun owners in Western New York, voted against the H.R. 8 bill that focused on running a complete background check on the gun owners to control the number of shootings. At a recent press conference, he argued that if a bill to ban AR-15 style weapons came to the House floor, he would vote in favor of it. Furthermore, he stressed that he wants to raise the minimum age for buying certain guns to 21, impose a federal limit on gun magazine capacity, and ban the sale of body armor to the public. However, his statements were received with a massive backlash from the Republicans, who believe that Republicans like Jacobs are compromising with the long-term Democratic policies of imposing a permanent ban on guns and taking away citizens' freedoms. Now, Representative Claudia Tanay said, "We passed strict gun laws. People are still going to do this because we are not addressing underlying problems that are causing people to be so deranged and so unstable that they're even able to conceive these things." Representative Lee Zeldin also argued, "Law-abiding citizens would follow the law, but if you are seeking to carry out a crime with a firearm, you are not going to be looking to honor the law." Nevertheless, Jacobs went on to support Democrats by clarifying that he is not forcing the Democrats to introduce a bill banning assault weapons, but if it is induced, he will strongly support it. He said, "I'm speaking out because I think that it's something we need to discuss because I can't in good conscience sit back and say I didn't try to do something." Furthermore, he stressed that he is planning to introduce a bill to ban the sale of body armor to people who are not in law enforcement, security, or other related fields, which has convinced the experts to declare that Jacobs, who's running for another term in the newly redrawn 23rd Congressional District, has now increased his chances of losing the re-election. I also think it's worth repeating what Representative Claudia Tanay said. "We passed strict gun laws. People are still going to do this because we are not addressing underlying problems that are causing people to be so deranged and so unstable that they are even able to conceive these things."
We're demanding an end to the shadow banning, a stop to the silencing, and a stop to the blacklisting, banishing, and canceling. We are asking the court to impose punitive damages on these social media giants. We're going to hold big tech very accountable.
In his powerful efforts to restore free speech in America, Trump's media company, Trump Media and Technology Group, TMTG, is now planning to launch a subscription-based streaming service like Netflix called TMTG Plus. The unique platform will focus on expressing non-woke content with the objective of never censoring content creators for expressing their thoughts in any form. In their filing on May 16th, TMTG openly declared the type of content platform would feature blue-collar comedy, canceled shows, Trump-specific programming, faith-based shows, family entertainment, shows that embrace the Second Amendment ideology of the right to keep and bear arms, podcasts, and of course, the news. Although no specific launch date is announced by TMTG, the announcement is made to target social media platforms like Twitter that feel justified in censoring citizens' freedom of speech. Now, Devin Nunes, CEO of TMTG and a former Republican congressman, said, "Whether it be Hollywood, news media, search engines, payment processing, these are all areas that I think that people could get canceled. Americans could get canceled if you don't pay homage to the proper woke God. Those are the things we are going to fight against." Former President Donald Trump also said in an October 2021 statement, "The new age censorship is a disaster for our country. Things were far better in the days when we had our debates fiercely and openly, and then we could move forward together as Americans, with both sides knowing that their voice and their best arguments had been heard. In the end, a small number of powerful people who all think the same and wish to silence anyone who thinks differently cannot be trusted to control almost every major media technology and entertainment company in America. I am determined to break their chokehold over the voices of the American people, not just for myself and my supporters, but for the United States of America."
In prayer, there is peace, something this community of 15,000 has struggled to find in the wake of a mass tragedy.
I don't think none of this would have happened if they actually would have done their job right.
With pressure mounting this morning on law enforcement to explain how it could take more than an hour to stop a gunman before he slaughtered 19 elementary students and 2 teachers.
A U.S. Army veteran, Ed Shelby, who couldn't sleep after hearing about this week's mass shooting incident in Uvalde, has now decided to volunteer himself as a guard at the main entrance of his daughter's elementary school. Sager Elementary School in Killeen, which is located 180 miles northwest of the Uvalde incident, was approached by Shelby to ask for permission to stand guard outside. When the school administration ran a sufficient background check, they approved Shelby's application without hesitation. Surprisingly, another parent, identified as a veteran mother, has also been approved as a volunteer to help guard the back entrance of the school. Shelby said, "I can't let this go. This is just a testament to the sleeplessness caused by this grief I experienced. I have had a lot of emotional people come up to me. They didn't want to send their kids to school. They struggled with sending their kids to school. And I told them, I was like, I got them." While praising their actions, the principal of the school, Eli Lopez, said, "As I took time to check on them and express my personal appreciation, they both expressed the simple act they felt they were taking on of being present as the least they could do. I was humbled that they demonstrated what it is to be part of the village that cares for each other. Neither one chose this task for recognition." Shelby, who has 11 years of experience in the U.S. Army, said he is not afraid to be in front of the school without a gun. And I'd like to thank you all for spending time with me. Now don't forget, watch this video up here, and I'll see you next time.